On this week's edition of District Directions, Miss Blaney will be joining us with her district update. Miss Kramer, our Norman Teacher of the Year, will be joining us in her opening doors. Dr. Schiller has another transition update, and Mr. Rex Suba has another pinpoints. The Oklahoma Interscholastic Press gives out awards every year for journalism and other media type activities. Here now is Miss Connie Blaney to tell who got what awards and what went on at last week's Boards of Education meeting on her district update.
Congratulations to the Norman Public Schools Video Resource Studio for winning the All-Oklahoman Award from the Oklahoma Interscholastic Press Association at a conference in October. Gary Kramer, studio director, accepted the award for last year's video hymn at the high school called Forever Norman High. Kramer was the composer of the song. It was produced, shot, and edited at the Channel 29 Video Studio and featured performances by Norman High School's Media 2 students, the Norman High School Orchestra directed by Brian Benson, the Norman High School Choirs directed by Jonna Johnson, and the choir from Central Mid-High directed by Tony Gonzalez. The audio CD was recorded by Horton Productions in Norman. Norman High School received a total of 14 awards at the OIPA conference, which was held at the OU campus. Congratulations to John Hopkins and his journalism students for his students winning several awards in photography and writing. The 10th annual All-City 5th grade choral concert was a big success. Hundreds of students and parents filled the Lloyd Noble Center on Tuesday, November 12th. We thank the music teachers for their hard work, the students for their outstanding performances, and thanks to the family members who showed up to support their students. Congratulations to the Norman High School softball team and Shelley Brown, their coach, for accomplishing a team goal this year by winning the 5A State Academic Achievement Award with a 3.6 grade point average. This is the second consecutive year that the team has won this. The final Citizens Advisory Council public hearings were held last week and were hosted by representatives of the CAC. The hearings were held at the middle schools and the mid-high sites. The parents gave input to their CAC reps on whether they have any suggested changes in the district's transfer policy. Anyone who was not able to attend one of the public hearings but still has questions or wants to give input should talk with their CAC representative and contact their CAC representative at their school site. A recommendation will be made to the school board at the January school board meeting by the CAC. A final decision will be made at the February school board meeting. Construction on one section of Longfellow Middle School is nearing completion this week. Classes will be moved to the new section of Longfellow in the next few weeks. After Longfellow students are moved into the new section, contractors will begin working on remodeling the old part of Longfellow. Construction is on schedule with the completion of Norman High School North by this summer. The bond issue that was passed in October will allow for the completion of Phase 3, which will complete the remodeling of Longfellow, and the completion of the shell building, which is the wing on the east side of the building. The shell includes a complete competition gymnasium, music rooms, locker rooms, and other facilities. The school board meeting was held Monday, November 18th. Since the show's taping date is November 13th, I'll have a full report of the school board meeting in next week's show. If you own or represent a business here in Norman and your business is not a partner in education with one of our schools, I urge you to get involved in our Partners in Education program. We are looking for mentors, volunteers, speakers, and business partners. Businesses can get involved by contributing human resources, their time, or financial help. We hope that all of our schools can obtain several business partners. Give me a call at 366-5961 to find out more about this program, which benefits the businesses and the schools. The Norman Public Schools is working on developing a Crime Stoppers program. A meeting will be held December 4th with students and faculty advisors to begin developing the program. Students from secondary schools will serve on the board and make decisions affecting the Crime Stoppers program. As the program develops, I'll give you further details. Thanksgiving vacation will be the last week of November. There will be no school on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, November 27th through 29th. Students will report back to school on Monday, December 2nd. Winter break is scheduled for Friday, December 20th through Wednesday, January 1st. Students will report back to school on Thursday, January 2nd. For Norman Public Schools, I'm Connie Blaney.
Rubrics is a system that determines how the making and grading of tests and assignments are done fairly and effectively. Ms. Kramer, being a teacher at Central Mid-High and our Norman Teacher of the Year, knows all about this system, and here she is to tell us all about it on her opening doors.
Recently, in a night class I'm taking at OU, our professor handed back papers. They'd been worth 50 points. I received a 49. Initially, I was pleased, but then I was puzzled. There were no marks on the paper of any kind. What did I lose that point for? Did I not do my bibliographic citation correctly? Did he not like my font that I chose to print in? Had I misspelled a word? Sometimes when we teachers hand back papers or products to our students, they're puzzled too. How do we arrive at that grade? What do we take off for? Is it because we don't like them that they didn't make an A? Of course, some grades are obvious. The math homework or the multiple choice test will usually pose no problem in communication to teacher, parent, and student. But what about that newspaper group assignment for a social studies class? Or what about that videotaped interview for a foreign language class? Or how about a series of political cartoons drawn by a student assigned in an English class? With the move in education toward fewer objective pencil and paper tests and more real-life products, performances, and projects, different assessment techniques become necessary. We in the core areas are using what performance arts and practical arts teachers have perfected years ago, a grading scale which objectively measures performance, skills, products. These grading scales are called rubrics. A rubric is a scoring form that contains the criteria by which we make assessments. It sets the criteria and the standards in advance. Rubrics make public what is being judged and the standards of performance. Rubrics set a benchmark by which students see examples to which they can compare themselves. We in Norman strive for excellence, so we generally start with the criteria that demonstrates excellence. The scoring criteria must help teachers define excellence and plan to help students achieve it. These criteria communicate to students what constitutes excellence and how to evaluate their own work. We communicate these goals to parents and others. We help teachers and other raters become accurate, unbiased, and consistent in scoring. And we document the procedures used in making important judgments about students. In a good rubric, nothing is left to guess and nothing is left to chance. We ask ourselves these questions when we select the criteria by which to grade a student. What are the attributes of a good performance in this product? By what qualities or features will I know whether students have produced an excellent response to my assessment task? How does completing this task relate to my goal for the students? What will they do that shows me we're working toward and achieving these goals? What do I expect to see if this task is done excellently, acceptably, or poorly? Do I have samples and models of my student work from my class or from other sources that exemplify the criteria that I'm going to be using? What criteria for this or some other similar task exists already in my state curriculum framework, my state assessment program, my district curriculum guides, and my own school's assessment program? And finally, what dimensions might I adapt from work done by national curriculum councils and from other teachers? How do we score these rubrics? Well, we use numerical scales. We assign points. We can use qualitative scales by using adjectives rather than points. We can use observation checklists, where we simply check off that a student has mastered or completed a certain task. They're easy to use once you get used to how they work and designing them. Rubrics work equally well for individual and for group assignments. In this rubric for an Odyssey project, the grading was done holistically, a general impression of the whole. The holistic grades can then be converted, if necessary, to a percentage or a raw score as desired and required by each site. In this group rubric for an Animal Farm newspaper, each individual contributor was scored, and the team shared the cumulative grade. Notice different criteria were used for each part of the newspaper, but no one's job was intrinsically more valuable than any other's. With our district's support of technology, rubrics have become more fun and easier to devise. Programs using PageMaker and using clip art, rubrics are attractive, easy to understand, and adaptable to change as the need might arise. Rubrics work so well and convey information so clearly that students never have to wonder how teachers arrive at a score. In this Utopia grading guide, we've been able to use work and terms used in the unit to convey excellence, good work, and work that needs some more work on it. A final test of a rubric's effectiveness is how it affects student performance. Students who get clear feedback on assessments know how to improve their work for the next time. They look to see what we've checked in each column, which criteria they need to work harder on, and they apply that the next time a similar assignment comes up. When my team teaching partner, Sandy Bahan, and I taught our faculty at Central how to use rubrics and how to design them, they self-assessed their understanding by using, you guessed it, a rubric. Rubrics are just one more valuable tool in our workshop to help kids learn. But be careful. Once you start using rubrics, it may be hard for you or for your students to stop. In this cartoon, Mrs. Grislow is not amused when her students practice their scoring rubric on her spring wardrobe. I'm Linda Kramer, and I'll see you next week on Opening Doors.
On this week's Transition Update, Dr. Dick Schiller and his guest Larry Willoughby will be talking about the Citizens Advisory Council. The Advisory Council is the group that decided the boundaries for the new high school, Norman High School North. Let's take a look.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us tonight on Transition Update. With me tonight as a guest is Mr. Larry Willoughby, the chairperson of the Citizens Advisory Council. Larry, last year the the Citizens Advisory Council studied attendance boundaries for the district and ultimately recommended some attendance boundaries, which the board adopted. What is our topic this year, and how does it relate to last year's topic?
Our topic this year is transfer policy as it relates to the boundary changes. Part of the way we came about requesting that topic from the board was there were several members on last year's council who felt like there was some need to study the transfer policy simply because, as it is, it states that any school under capacity can accept transfers. In '97, when we opened 2 high schools and 4 middle schools, all 6 will be under capacity, and we felt, therefore, it was theoretically possible for all seniors, for instance, to transfer in one high school, jeopardizing the criteria that we had established last year with the boundary changes.
Was the board interested in just one new policy or modification of the existing policy that would last them for?
No, the board actually asked us for short-term as well as long-term options to the policy, more than one. So our intent in January, when we present this to the board, is to give them multiple options for short and long-term suggestions for transfer policy.
Okay. How has it gone so far? Can you bring us up to date? And is everything peace and harmony on the council with 40 members agreeing on how we should do this?
Sometimes we have peace and harmony. But, actually, to date, we really began our task in September, sometime after Labor Day weekend. To the present date, we have had about 10 meetings, 3 public hearings, 3 student hearings. We have spent essentially one night every week for 3 hours or so working on our task. We've had, I think, of the 44 members on the council, and the majority of that is composed of school reps from elementary, middle, and high school. We have community at large. We have city and county represented. I think our attendance probably is between 35 and 37 regularly, which is pretty good percentage. Time commitment is quite substantial on this committee. We, at this point, have agreed on most of the things that we're going to present at the next set of public hearings. Obviously, with 37 or so people, it's hard to get 100% agreement on anything.
Absolutely. And we all know, everyone who's been on a committee, I think, that intelligent, sincere people can disagree on the best way to accomplish something.
That's correct.
Maybe that's borne out even in this election year. We can see that same thing in that process going on. Okay. Do you have any more public hearings scheduled that public can get to see better?
We do. The next public hearing will be November the 12th at Whittier, and then on November the 14th we will have one scheduled at Central and at West and at Irving. We have chosen those sites because they are the sites of the 4 middle schools next year.
What will you be doing at those hearings, do you feel, at this point?
At those hearings, what we're going to do is bring back to the public some options in various categories based on the information we have gathered from the first public hearings, the first student hearings, the CAC members' actual input. We have surveyed the junior class. We have received in the mail the other day a survey from Central that they did in one of their homeroom periods from all of the students at Central. So we're going to be presenting what the CAC decided was the highest priority items for various areas of options, and options being, as an example, athletic eligibility. An option could be no eligibility for the first 2 semesters, or eligibility for the first semester, or eligibility after 6 weeks, that sort of thing. So we're going to be presenting that sort of thing to the public and trying to get their feel for what they are the most concerned about.
Okay, that sounds useful, and we encourage everyone to attend those meetings. That's an important part of the council's activities, I think, each year, is when they do have public hearings. We really need to get folks out and get them involved in that. Okay, when are you going to try to present your recommendations to the Board of Education, do you feel?
It's our plan at this point to try to present our options at the January board meeting.
January board meeting.
Yes, sir. And hopefully we'll be through by then. We may have to schedule a meeting or so. But,
after that, yeah. And then the board would act on the recommendations as they usually do at the following meeting then, and that would be the February meeting.
It is our hope, yes, it's our hope that they would act on in February, which would give the people time to begin applying for transfers in March.
Okay, well, as usual, it sounds like the council's had a really busy agenda this year, and I know that that's going to continue right up until those board meetings, maybe even more so than it has to this point, as it has in the past years. And you and I both know about that. I think we've both been associated with the council since its beginning.
That we have.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Larry, for bringing us up to date, and thank you for joining us on Transition Update.
This week is Take Your Teacher to Lunch Week. Yeah, right. Actually, it's the American Education Week. And here to tell you more about it is Mr. Rex Suba and his show Pinpoints.
This is Rex Suba with another episode of Pinpoint TV. This is the week of November 17th through the 23rd, and we're celebrating American Education Week. Let's see what else is happening. This was first observed 75 years ago by the American Legion and the National Education Association. Our celebration this week began with an ad in the Sunday paper. Contributing teachers' names spell out the word teach. Also, a proclamation signed by the Board of Education at the October board meeting is available at each side. Congratulations to the staffs at Eisenhower and at Roosevelt. They had 100% Penn membership participation in the American Education Week advertisement project you just saw. Thank you very much. Penn is taking advantage of the internet to let people know about our observance of American Education Week. Check out the website. The address will be given later in this segment. A number of staff development opportunities for members continue to be offered. Currently, we offer Prepared Not Scared on Tuesday, November 19th in Conference Room G at the Professional Development Center, which is downstairs from the Penn office. Prepared Not Scared will last from 3:50 until 5 p.m. and will be presented by Nancy Peebler at OEA. Check the Penn Bulletin Board display at your site or call 366-1148 for more details. While we're celebrating American Education Week, let's show our appreciation for education support personnel on Wednesday of this week. As you can see, we have a lot happening here for Penn. If you want to find out the latest, check out our website at http://www.ionet.net/pen/pen1.html. You can email us at pen1@juno.com. Until next time, this is Rex Suba with Pinpoint TV.
Well, that's all the time we have for today, so for Channel 29 and I'm Lawrence Bothwell. Have a good night.
Stay tuned for more from the super students of the Norman Public Schools here on the School Channel Cable 29.